This is Recipe for Sleep, a podcast where we dust off very old cookbooks and let them lull us into dreamland. I'm Erin Brindley, a chef and storyteller. Tonight, we pick up where we left off in our last episode, in 1887's A Book of Cooking and Pastry, a collection of original recipes gathered during a lifetime and especially arranged for family use by C.F. Fow. These recipes are my favorite kind, the ones that read like little poems. Tonight's episode is a little shorter than usual. A little cold crept in while I was recording. Don't worry, I sound better than this once the reading starts. We'll pick up where we left off in a couple weeks. Meanwhile, if you prefer a long stretch of sleep podcast ahead of you, you can check out one of our earlier episodes. I'd love to keep this little podcast ad-free. Isn't it nice to not have to fast forward through any mattress commercials? You can help with that by either subscribing to my Substack at Erin Brindley, where you can read or hear, I do audio versions of those too, my own stories and recipes, or you can buy me a coffee. Both will be linked in the show notes, along with the original text of this great cookbook. Now put away anything you were doing and snuggle deep into your sweet covers. Imagine the kitchen of your mind. There are 2 cupboards there. Yesterday's cupboard, for all the things that have already happened, that your mind wants to chew on. And tomorrow's cupboard, for all the things you're going to do or say or what's going to happen later. It's time to put everything away in those cupboards. Imagine closing each one. You made it to this cozy, quiet time of day where there's nothing to do but listen to me read you old cookbooks until you drift off to sleep. Entrees. Crab patties. Make shells of puff paste as directed elsewhere. Take 1/2 ounce of butter, small onion, small carrot. Put on the fire and heat without coloring. Add 2 spoonfuls of flour. Stir well. Then add 3 pints of hot water, a pint of cream, salt, and white pepper. Simmer 1 hour and strain in saucepan. To each quart of crab meat or lobster or shrimp, add 1 pint of sauce, a tablespoon of butter, and a few mushrooms. Toss up and fill shells, heating well before serving. Crab croquettes. To each pound of crab meat, take 2 ounces of butter, 3 spoonfuls of flour, 1 gill of cream, salt, pepper, melt the butter, add flour, then gill of hot water. Boil, add cream and seasoning, last the meat. Set to cool on ice. Then shape and dip in egg and rolled crackers and fry in hot butter or lard. Fondus of Edam cheese in little paper cases. Scald 1 pint of milk with 2 ounces of cornstarch until thick enough so it comes off the saucepan. Add slowly yolks of 8 eggs, 2 ounces of grated cheese, some salt, the whites of 8 eggs well beaten. Let cool. Then fill in small paper cases, which can be bought at any confectioner's. Bake 12 minutes and serve with soup. Fondus of breast of chicken. Skin a good-sized chicken. Pick off all the white meat and chop fine. Then scald 2 ounces of butter, 1/2 pint of milk, 4 ounces of bread until all comes from side of saucepan. Add the yolks of 4 eggs, salt, mace, pepper, the whites of the eggs beaten stiff, Last, the meat of the chicken. Fill cases, bake, and serve with soup. Escalloped oysters. To a 2-quart pan, 3 cans of oysters. Set them on the fire in their own liquor and swell them, that is, heat them until the little scallops open. Then strain. Butter a dish. Sprinkle rolled crackers in the bottom. Add 1/3 of the oysters, salt, pepper, butter. Alternate layers of crackers and oysters with seasoning until the dish is full, the last layer being crackers. Moisten each layer of crackers with the liquid of the oysters and put about a dozen small lumps of butter on top. Bake in a quick oven until brown on top. Serve hot. Filled noodles. Make a good noodle dough and roll out in pieces about 3½ inches square. Fill with the following: 8 ounces of chopped chicken, 3 ounces of butter, 2 eggs, 3 ounces of soaked bread, pepper, salt, parsley. Put a teaspoonful of the mixture in the center of each piece of dough. Wash with egg. Double over the corners. Press them down well. Drop into boiling water. Boil 15 minutes. Drain. Serve with soup. Italian polenta noodles. Cook a 1/4 pound of polenta rice in good soup stock. Add, when cold, 2 eggs, mace, and salt. Fill in noodle dough and drop in boiling water. Cook 10 minutes. Croquettes. To be served after soup. Croquettes of sweetbreads. Prepare 1 pound of sweetbreads and chop fine. Make sauce of 4 ounces of butter, 3 spoonfuls of flour, 1/4 of a pint of soup stock, 1/4 of a pint of rich sweet cream, pepper, salt, parsley. When well cooked and rather stiff, add the sweetbreads. Set on ice to cool. Shape in any desired form. Dip in egg and rolled crackers twice, and fry in lard or cooking butter. Chicken croquettes. Boil soft 1 chicken. Pick all the meat from the bones, chop fine, and make same as above. Lobster, fish, and shrimp croquettes are made the same. Croquettes of potatoes. Pass 2 pounds of boiled potatoes through the strainer. Add a 1/4 pound of butter, 2 ounces of flour, 3 eggs, a little cream, and stir well on the fire a few minutes. When cold, shape and dip in eggs and cracker dust. Fry in butter. Coquettes are made and baked in their own shells, such as crabs, clams, oysters, and mussels. The shells are washed and dried with bran after they are used, and the coquettes form a very attractive dish for lunch. Crab coquettes. Boil 2 dozen crabs. Pick out the meat of 1 dozen, lay it aside, and keep the top shells. The balance of the meat pound up with a little butter. Warm the mixture, add a little water and strain. Mix with the chopped crab meat, equal quantity of bread or cracker crumbs. Season to taste. Fill the shells and sprinkle on top some crackers and a tablespoon of liquid and a few lumps of butter. Bake in a quick oven. Serve hot. Oyster coquettes. For 12 large oyster shells, take 3 dozen oysters. Boil in their own liquid. Spread a few cracker crumbs in each shell. Cut the oysters in half. Lay 3 in each shell. Sprinkle with salt and pepper. Add 1 tablespoonful of the liquid, some crackers, and butter on top. Bake quick. Serve hot. Entrees in crust cups. In making crust cups, forms are used like patty molds of tin. They are lined with puff paste or pie crust, made and filled with dry beans, peas, or bran, and baked. When done, brush out and fill with the following recipes. Chicken ragouts in crust cups. Stew until tender a good-sized chicken. Pick the meat off the bones. Cut into small pieces. Make a sauce a la bechamel or white cream sauce. Toss up the meat in it and fill the cups. Serve with fresh salad. Sweetbreads in crust cups. Same as above, except use caper sauce and sweetbreads. Macaroni in crust cups. Boil half-pound macaroni in salt water until well done. Fill cups. Sprinkle a little Edam cheese over them. Then pour over a sauce made of 2 tablespoonfuls of butter, 1 of flour, 2 eggs, half pint of milk, a little salt. Bake for a few minutes in a quick oven until custard is set, or make white cream sauce. Pour over macaroni and serve. Veal tongue in crust cups. Boil tender 2 veal tongues, chop fine. Make a brown mushroom sauce. Fill cups and serve hot. Oyster patties. Prepare shell as directed for patties. Toss up oysters in their own liquid until well swelled. Strain. Make white sauce with parsley. Boil oysters in it for a few minutes. Fill patties. Serve hot. Oyster patties dry. Cut out of puff paste or good pie crust with a round cutter about 3 inches in diameter. Lay them on baking tins. Lay on this 2 or 3 oysters, boiled up and strained, a little pepper, salt, parsley. Wash the edge of the dough and cover with another piece of dough. Press down, wash, and bake quick. Curled omelets with ham. Chop fine half-pound of lean ham. Stir well 6 eggs, 1 spoonful of cream. Melt in a frying pan a 1/4 pound of butter. When hot, pour in the eggs, stirring until it begins to thicken. Add the ham. Set on the stove until brown on the bottom. Put in the oven for a few minutes. Serve at once. Season to taste using parsley. French omelets. Beat up 1 tablespoonful of starch with 2 of cream. Add the yolks of 6 eggs, well stirred. Beat the whites until stiff. Add to the other. Season with salt, pepper, and parsley. Fry in butter on both sides. Serve at once with currant jelly. German pancakes. Beat to a smooth batter 4 eggs, 1 gill of sweet milk, and enough sifted flour to make a smooth batter. Pepper, salt, and fry in butter. Serve at once with fresh lettuce. Fried oysters. Select the largest oysters. Dry them well on a towel. Best up 1 or 2 eggs. Roll some crackers, not too fine. Dip oysters in the eggs and crackers several times. Fry brown quickly in cooking butter. Season last with salt and pepper. Pieces of meat fried this way will be found very nice. Breaded spring chicken. Cut up the chicken before cooking. Sprinkle with salt and pepper. Beat up 2 eggs, 1/4 of a pint of milk, 2 spoonfuls of flour. Dip the chicken in, then in breadcrumbs. Bake in hot oven. Serve with cream and parsley. Spring chicken a la Horley. Cut up the chicken. Dip in melted butter. Sprinkle with pepper and salt. Dip in the beaten whites of eggs. Dust flour over it and bake brown in butter. Serve with rings of onion fried in butter. Chicken a la Villeroy. Boil in good beef stock some chickens. Cut up when tender. Boil down the gravy until rather thick. Add a little flour. Dip the chicken in this. Sprinkle with breadcrumbs. Fry quickly in butter. Serve with fresh lettuce. Baked calves' brains. After washing, cook the brains in salt water. Dip in egg and cracker and bake quickly, or slice and dip in egg and crackers and fry in butter. Welsh rarebit. Toast some slices of bread. Put in a frying pan some slices of cheese with butter. When cheese is melted, spread on buttered toast and serve. Fish. Boiled salmon. Leave the bead on if for a dinner or party. Roll in a napkin. Boil in salt water with a few sweet herbs, from 12 to 25 minutes according to size. Roll on the dish. Decorate with parsley. Should not be cooked too long or it will fall apart. Holland sauce. Broiled salmon. Cut up in pieces to suit. Melt butter. Add pepper and salt. Turn the pieces of fish in the butter. Broil quickly. Squeeze lemon juice on each piece. Serve with tartar or parsley sauce. Baked salmon. Small fish are preferable. Cut through the long way along the backbone. Lay in a dripping pan, skin down, salt and pepper, and dust flour, some butter, and a little water. Bake in oven. Serve with tomato sauce. Salmon a la bechamel. Bake of puff paste some diamond-shaped pieces, about 3 inches long. Cook a salmon as in other recipes. Make a sauce a la bechamel. Lay the fish in the middle of the dish. Lay around the pieces of puff paste. Pour over the sauce. Decorate with lemon and parsley. Serve hot. Gratin of salmon. Divide a large fish in the middle. Out of one side, make the filling by scraping the meat, adding 2 eggs, 4 ounces of butter, 4 ounces of soaked bread, salt, pepper, lemon juice. Spread the filling in the bottom of the pan. Lay on the other half of the fish cut up, and on top, balance of the filling. Add a little fish water and cracker and butter. Bake in oven 25 minutes. Serve hot. To fry fish, clean and cut in pieces to suit, and wipe dry. Pepper and salt. Dip in egg. Roll in cracker dust. Fry brown in cooking butter. Brook trout. dip in flour, and fry in butter. Carp, sauce remoulade. Boil the fish in soup stock for 20 or 25 minutes. Lay on a dish. Add part of the sauce. Decorate with capers or green gherkins on the edge of the dish. Serve cold. Trout in jelly or aspic. Boil the trout as they come from the water in salt water and a little vinegar, about 15 minutes. They must not fall apart. Then make a very clear cow's foot jelly, well flavored. Fill a mold with the jelly, and before it gets cold, hang the fish on a wire in the middle of the mold and let cool. Only the white meat is used in eating. The skin is shaved off. By cooking trout in this manner, the color is preserved. Carp and matelotte. Cut up the carp. Take out the backbone and boil the pieces in salt water, flavored with sweet herbs. Make some pieces of toast. Lay a piece of fish on each piece of toast. Serve Holland sauce while it is hot. Fish cutlets. Cook the fish in salt water. Pick out all the bones. To each pound of meat, add a quarter pound of butter, 3 eggs, a quarter pound of soaked bread, salt, pepper, a tomato pressed through a strainer. Mix well. Shape oval pieces like cutlets. Dip in egg and cracker, and fry in butter or lard. Codfish, cream sauce. Boil fish until tender. Pick out the bones and make a white sauce, using cream in place of soup stock. Codfish balls. Equal quantity fish and mashed potatoes. 2 eggs to each pound. 2 ounces of butter, salt, pepper, and parsley. Make round and bake in the oven. To cook mackerel. Salt a fresh mackerel before broiling. If salted, lay in plenty cold water, wipe dry, dip in melted butter, and turn over twice over the coals. Poultry and game. Poultry is larded to impart a fine flavor and to make it look attractive. Salt pork or bacon can be used. The larding should always be done very even. To bone fowls. Few understand the process, and I think there is less waste when fowls are boned. The bones and carcasses of a turkey can be used after the fowl is boned, and the turkey will go farther and be easier to carve when boned. Select good fat fowls, not drawn. Should be killed 2 days before using. Begin by cutting off the neck and the first joint of the wings and thigh bone. Make a clean, straight cut along the backbone and slowly cut the meat away from the bones and ribs. Separate the joint and work from the tail to the breast. The carcass is taken out first. The wing and thigh bone are pushed in and trimmed off. The craw pulled out whole. When done, lay flat on the table, the breast from you. Trim the fillets and put them where there is no meat. Lay the stuffing in layers. Add some strips of pork or ham, laid the long way. Do not fill too much. Fold over and sew up. It is ready for the oven to roast or boil. Turkey stuffing. Take 1 pound of finely chopped veal, 3/4 of a pound chopped pork, and 1/2 pound of butter, 6 eggs, 12 ounces of bread, salt, pepper, mushrooms, and sweet herbs. Mix well. Oysters, chestnuts, or apples can be used if desired. After turkey is stuffed, it should be tied 2 or 3 times with twine, not too tight if for roasting. If boiled, it should be wrapped in a towel. Put a little water in the pan and a few slices of bacon on the top. It will take 3 hours to roast and should be basted often. If boiled, put on with cold water, laying the carcass at the bottom. Must boil 3 hours. When done, take out and press between 2 boards so it will lay flat in the jelly. Jelly for fowls and game. Calf's foot jelly. Get 3 or 4 knuckles of veal, also 4 feet and 1 head. Wash well and set on fire with 4 gallons of cold water, 1/2 ounce of whole pepper, 2 ounces of salt, 2 onions, 2 bay leaves, 1 carrot, 1 stalk of celery. Boil all day, adding hot water when necessary. Boil down to about 5 quarts. Strain into a stone jar. Let stand overnight. Next day, skim all the fat off. If the jelly is stiff enough, it can be used. If not, add a few ounces of well-soaked isinglass and boil 1/2 hour. Taste for seasoning. Use 6 sliced lemons, 1/2 pint of vinegar, 1 pint of sour wine, and 6 whole beaten eggs, shell and yolk. Beat this up before pouring in the jelly. Then boil and skim as the scum rises. Boil slowly for 25 minutes, then pour into a flannel jelly bag. Run through until clear as syrup. If not dark enough, use sugar coloring. To decorate a turkey and jelly. After the turkey, fish, and tongue is cold, take a tin mold large enough to hold what you want to make. Cover the bottom a 1/4 inch thick with liquid jelly and set on ice to cool. Cut up some raw vegetables such as carrots, red and white beets, in different designs, names or monograms, and lay them in the jelly in the bottom of the dish. Pour over a little liquid jelly to make the design stick. Pour over another 1/4 inch of jelly and cool. When cold, lay in your turkey, whole or in slices, and fill up the remaining space with jelly. These dishes can be made several days before using. Chicken, tongue, or any game is made the same way. Spring chicken, asparagus, cream gravy. 2 good-sized chickens cut in 2. Boil the first wing joint, neck, giblet with salt, pepper, and 1 lemon in water until soft and about 1/4 of stock is left. Add 1 pint of hot water. Lay in the chicken and cook until tender. Boil 4 bunches of asparagus in salt water. When tender, lay aside. When the chicken is done, taste for seasoning and make of the stock a cream sauce by adding 1/2 pint cream. Add the asparagus and boil up. Lay the chicken on a platter, around it the asparagus, and over it all the sauce. Serve with toast. Chicken with mushroom sauce. Fry the chicken brown in butter. When done, pour over 1 pint of water. Let it simmer until done. Strain the gravy and make brown mushroom sauce, for which brown the flour and butter. Add the gravy, a little water, and last the mushrooms. Season to taste. Strain and finish with the yolk of an egg. Serve hot with pieces of pie crust. Chicken pies. The foregoing, filled in pie crust and baked in the oven, will make chicken pie, or keep out the gravy. Line your pan with crust. Lay in the chicken, cover with crust, and bake quickly. Then pour in the gravy through a hole in the top crust. A meat pie in this way is always flaky. Mayonnaise of chicken. Cook the chicken tender under hot water, salt, pepper, and a few herbs. Let cool. Cut the meat in pieces. Lay them in a sauce for 5 hours made of 5 spoonfuls of oil, 3 of vinegar, salt, and pepper. Make a rather stiff mayonnaise and arrange the pieces of chicken in the shape of a pyramid. Smooth over with mayonnaise and decorate. Spring chicken in jelly. Cook chicken tender in butter, seasoning, and a very little water. Cut in 4 pieces. Prepare nice meat jelly and put each piece in a separate mold and pour jelly over it. Serve with lettuce. Pigeon pie. Take a half dozen squabs or young pigeons. Clean well. Cut in 2. Boil soft in water, salt, and pepper. When done, drain off the juice and set aside. Prepare some pie crust. Line the dish. Lay in the pigeon. Cover up with pie crust. Cut hole in the center and bake quickly. Finish the sauce and pour in when baked. Serve. Fricassee of young goose. Clean and cut up a young goose. Fry the breast browned in butter. Then pour some water. Put in the balance of the goose and simmer until tender. Out of the gravy, make a brown sauce. Serve with small baked potatoes. Rolled young goose. Bone a young goose. Make a stuffing after any recipe preferred. Lay the goose flat. Sprinkle with pepper and salt. Spread the stuffing on the inside. Roll and bake in oven. Serve with baked apples. Tame duck, roasted. Clean and lard the duck. Stuff and roast in oven. Cover with paper so they don't brown too fast at first. When tender, take off paper and brown. Salmi of tame duck. Cut up and simmer in some butter a duck. When nice and brown, pour over some stock and let it get tender, and then strain off the gravy and finish rather thick and brown. Add a little lemon juice and a small glass of wine. Have some nice designs of pie crust ready and decorate the dish. Salmi of prairie chicken and wild duck prepare the same way. Prairie chicken and jelly. Make first nice meat jelly of the liver and a little lean veal. Make a filling. Shape the same into about a dozen cutlets. Dip them in egg and cracker dust and fry. Prepare the chicken by cooking them with a few vegetables, spice, salt, and pepper. When cold, cut in pieces and lay in the jelly. When cold, turn out on a dish and decorate with the cutlets. Serve cold. Sweet dreams.